Welcome to Let's Talk Jets Radio.
What's up, everybody? Tyson Rosh, Let's Talk Jets Patriots week. My good friend Ryan, what's up, man?
What's good? Thanks for having me on again, Tyson.
Well, hopefully the internet holds up, man, because my internet's been a train wreck today. So if this video comes out awkward, I completely apologize. But thank you for your time, man. How fired up are you right now?
Dude, there's no game I want to win more than Patriots week. After seeing them run up the score last year, I want to lay a thumping on them. I want this defense coming out swinging.
Hey, are you surprised the Jets are underdogs? Like, I don't understand it.
Dude, shocked. And we were 1.5 point dogs in our own building. Like, you watch what the Patriots did this past Monday night. I don't understand how you could put the Jets as underdogs.
No, and now, it's a big game. We're fired up. Jets have won 4 in a row. AFC East game, home game. To me, this is a statement game, man. This is a game that's like, this puts the Jets on the board, I think. Even though it's not your same old Patriot team, I think this one it's like personal. It's like a little bit more this week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more juice to this fire. I mean, you look at some of the chirps that have kind of come out from Ulbrich saying, oh, we remember that game from last year. CJ Uzama saying something similar. And like everyone's just kind of, they circled this one on the calendar before the season. So I think this is going to be fun to watch at home.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't wait for this, man. And like, are you surprised the Jets are where they are right now at this point of the season? Because I think we talked earlier on where it's like, you know what, Jets win 7 or 8 games this year. We're good. Be competitive in November, December. Well, they've gone way beyond that at this point. I think they're shocking all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely better than I would have ever thought. The offense, I'm a little surprised is as kind of slow moving as it's been as far as the passing attack goes. I think Breece Hall caught fire a lot faster. And, just watching where the defense is, I think the secondary, the corners in Reed and Sauce might be our best tandem we've ever had. Like that's even including Revis and Cromartie. Like these guys are absolutely stout. The front four has been fun to watch. Quinnen coming into his own has been absolutely massive. So I think having those, we said it before the season too. It's like, if everything starts to click, this team can win 10 games. It's not like out of the realm of possibility, but there's a lot of what ifs and a good amount of them are starting to click.
Yeah, and we'll start with the offense first, which has been, I guess, a little bit frustrating in terms of the passing game. And now you lose Corey Davis, you lose Elijah Vera Tucker, you lose Breece Hall as, an option out of the backfield. It's not ideal, but the only thing is different with this team as opposed to years past. Jets have depth, actually. They had the Elijah Moore saga, but he's playing on Sunday. I mean, they can actually, they can endure some of these kind of injuries right now, I think, especially in terms of skill positions.
Yeah, I think this is a testament to Joe Douglas and the job that he's been able to do to create that depth. I mean, before the season, if you had asked me like before the draft, I'd say, hey, I want Michael Carter to be running back 1, and I'd like, a mid to late round guy to be running back 2, and I'm fine with that. Breece Hall goes down. The guy was incredible, and I don't, wish losing him ever, but, not having him, we're kind of back where I sort of wanted us to be, from a offseason standpoint anyway. So I'm not like overly concerned. I think the Elijah Vera Tucker one's really a big one.
Yeah.
Corey Davis not playing this week is also big. I mean, Zach just looks for him all the time. Yeah. But like you said, the depth we have, I mean, between Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Uzama, and Conklin, and Carter, and now James Robinson coming in, like the Jets have a lot of weapons. Barrios, like across the board. You have a starting offense even without our 3 best players.
So, look at like keys of the game on offense, obviously is no turnovers, no dumb penalties, things like that. But to me, it seems like Belichick is the mastermind where he always confuses first and second year quarterbacks, which we all know at this point. But I think Zach's going to probably have to make 2 or 3 big throws. I think they're going to take away the run and dare him to beat him. And I think it's on the floor to be creative with his scheme. But I think Zach's going to have to have a pretty solid game. I think the last couple of weeks have been frustrating for me watching because it hasn't been ideal. But you can't get away with last week's performance this week, I don't think.
Yeah, completely agree. There's no way you could do what you did in Denver and be able to come out in front with the Patriots here. I think Zach, I'd like to see him do a little bit of what Justin Fields did, kind of take a little bit on his legs. Zach has that maneuverability. I would like to see him make a few big throws, but I think they're going to really try to focus on the running game and taking that away and forcing Zach to beat him with his arm.
Do you think they should roll him out more? Maybe let him use his legs. It seems like he's holding on to the ball too long. He's either not trusting himself or he's being conservative. Do you think he's got to let it rip more, maybe run, maybe do up-tempo more, like change things up a little bit?
I think it depends on where the game kind of is. I would like to see them bootleg him out a little bit more, maybe have half field reads instead of full field reads, kind of slow down the game a little bit, have some shallow crossers come in front of him. As far as, I don't want to say coddling him, but it definitely feels like they're telling him, hey, let's put an emphasis on ball security.
Yeah.
This defense and special teams are so good. We're going to win games just by this. Like, when we need your arm, we're going to uncork you. And I think this is going to be a week that we're going to need his arm.
Do you think, I'm guessing based on all the feedback so far, I guess Elijah Moore is going to see more opportunities in the slot. I'm fascinated to see how they use Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson this week, and the tight end group for that matter. Because I think if they're going to send the blitz, like Judon was running amok, and you figure with a banged up offensive line, the right side could be a concern. I think you're going to have to use those quick checks, and that could be Elijah Moore in the slot, or just have use Conklin and Uzama, use their side, use their abilities in the middle of the field to kind of slow everything down a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game the Jets kind of need if we really want to have those playoff ambitions. And if you have to keep both tight ends in to block to help your, the tackles that we're struggling and that, we're down to tackle 5 or whatever we're down to right now, allow that, don't let Judon get a free rush, hit him constantly throughout the day. And then, use Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson with those quick passes. It feels like every play that we're using Elijah Moore on, it's some long 20, 30-yard route. And I just don't want to see that. The guy is so shifty. I think even though Garrett Wilson might be better in the slot, I think he's probably better on the outside where Elijah Moore, I think the net positive with Elijah Moore in the slot is higher than him on the outside.
Who do you think there's more pressure on Sunday, Mike LaFleur or Zach Wilson, in terms of just how this offense rolls?
Ooh, probably Zach Wilson, just because he's going to have the ball in his hand all the time. As much as LaFleur really should take a lot of the onus on him because he doesn't have, his best offensive weapons on the offensive line, the running game, or in the passing game. So he's going to have to get creative for sure. But I think there's going to be a lot of focus on Zach. There's been a lot of chirping and kind of him and hawing as far as oh, this guy only threw 110 yards 2 weeks ago, 120 yards last week. We can't win with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy hasn't had to throw, and it's probably ill-advised to throw against top secondaries when your defenses are doing what they've been doing.
Yeah.
So I think as long as we see maybe I don't want to see 120. I'd like to see a 250-yard game.
Yep.
If I get that, maybe 2 touchdowns, I'd be feeling pretty good about Zach this week.
And then you go to the defensive side of the ball where I have a tremendous amount of confidence because they're playing at a top level, but they match up well. We have 2 corners that are shutdown corners that this isn't your same old Patriot team where they don't have these, the weapons of pass where you're always worried about can't match up with Gronkowski or this or that. I think the secondary matches up well. I think the defense and they're just playing so well. Quentin Williams is disruptive, all these different things. What's your level of confidence in the defense just getting after the Patriot offense?
Yeah, the secondary, I feel like after watching them go up against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think they can compete with any wide receiver group in the country. I mean, I'm excited to see the Bills one next week as well. But going up against any wide receivers, Sauce is incredible. He's playing like a top 10 corner fresh out of the gate. And DJ Reed has been incredible all season long. For me, I think the area of concern is probably that short passing game, the linebackers maybe getting caught in some screens. And I think that's probably where they're going to try to take advantage of us, maybe try to neutralize some of that pass rush. But if the Jets can get out to an early lead where you force the Patriots to throw the ball, then you're playing the Jets game. And now you pin your ears back and you try to force some bad throws.
Yeah, that's what I think. I'm hoping this is almost the kind of game where the Jets win the coin toss, or they get the option you defer, put your defense on the field first. The crowd's going to be off the rails, and you put so much pressure on them. And you like games like Quinnen and Sheldon Rankins, and you just collapse the pocket, force them into mistakes. And if you could do that, if you get a lead, even better, because then it's you can just pin your ears back. And the Jets have I didn't like the platoons at first, but now the pass rushers are coming in swarms where you have your Jacob Martin, even Vinny Curry's helping out. It's they're relentless, man.
Yeah, you look at this front four, and we're getting Jermaine Johnson back too, which sounds pretty good. He's been probably the quietest of our rookies so far, but it's been fun watching. He's got 1.5 sacks. He's been in the backfield causing disruptions. But Quinnen going up against a banged up or backup center, I don't remember which one's actually playing for them, but I think they're the interior of that pocket, being able to collapse that back into Mac Jones or potentially Zappy's face if he winds up getting pulled again. I have a lot more faith in this defensive line than I did this time, week 2 last year, because we obviously have, Lawson and, all these guys kind of firing on all cylinders. So I want to create a lot of pressure. I want to create a lot of havoc for them. Make sure they doesn't have much time to kind of sit back there and think.
And I think Salah's going to have these guys chomping at the bit, man. Because this one's personal. That the last year with the 50 at home, which was ridiculous. They've been disrespected. I think bulletin board material is all over the place. I mean, you're an underdog at home is already after you won 4. Like I think the defense is just going to be raring to go. And then the hidden aspect of all this is special teams is playing so well too. And if this game is close early on, or is that like a rock'em sock'em robot kind of game, then you have special teams has been awesome. Braden Mann, who I didn't never really liked, is playing great. Zerline, and then Barrios is always consistent with return. That's like the X factor nobody really talks about.
Yeah, our special teams might be one of the best in the league. Zerline, I have confidence of him kicking a 55+ yard kick. Like the guy's got a monster leg. And then Mann has been incredible. He's had a few like shanks that are like 35, 37 yards, but he's had a lot inside the 10-yard line. Just booming punts to just shift field position. Like it might be, we're on our own 20 and this guy's putting it like on the other team's 20. Like it's impressive watching this guy kick the ball. And Barrios returning kicks when he gets the opportunity to make some guys miss. He's just so impressive with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I agree, man. I like you look at like this is the first kind of Jets Patriots game where it's like, they should win this game. They're the better team. They have more talent. The coaching, I understand. The respect for Belichick is always going to be there, but it's like this is a must win, dude. It really is because this is like everything's lined up for you. The injury to Vera Tucker is a big one. I mean, we love Breece Hall, but I'm comfortable with Michael Carter and everything. But like Vera Tucker is the only one. But if you had to say what are your 3 biggest keys to the game for the Jets to win this, what would they be?
I think the first one for me has got to be offensive line, like you were just alluding to with Vera Tucker being out. I think it's just so incredibly important to keep Zach in a clean pocket. From what I've been reading, it seems like he's the number 2 quarterback in the league when throwing from a clean pocket. Yeah. So if you give him some time, he's going to start picking apart the defense. And then it's just kind of stepping up and seeing how Elijah Moore responds to all the criticism the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Because if he drops a ball or if he like half-asses a route, like the fans are going to let him know. The fans are not happy with how he handled that situation. And I think the Jets have done a good job sort of neutralizing some of the maybe angst a little bit. And I think, I know for me, for sure, I was like so done with this guy after I heard the trade rumors. And then it's like, oh, we lose Breece Hall. Oh, we lose Corey Davis. Well, you can come back and let's see how you can do. This is your prove it week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, on the defensive side, I think it's don't get beat deep. I think if you can keep everything in front of you, this defense is just you could play a bend but don't break defense, and you're going to be able to keep them off the scoreboard as much as possible. I'm not afraid of their offense. And after watching them Monday night, I think they're on short rest. I think there's a lot of turmoil. I think Mac Jones probably is not in the right mental headspace right now because they're pulling Zappy, in for him halfway through the game. And I think there's a lot of confusion. Whenever you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. So I think the Jets might be able to catch.
Speaking from history, right?
Yeah,
experience.
Absolutely. We've been through this for the last 20 years, 30 years. So it's kind of nice seeing the Patriots in a little quarterback purgatory. So I'm hoping we can take advantage of that. Cause like you said, it feels like a must win.
Yeah, I think it is too. To me, it's like, obviously like eliminate turnovers, no stupid personal fouls. Like they're going to be amped up, like no late hits, none of that stuff. Like you want to play with an edge, but don't keep extending drives out of stupidity, And I'm really confident, dude. Like I'm not confident saying you're going to blow them out, but I think the Jets should win this game. There's a lot of things point in their favor. Is there anything that your biggest concern going into this game? Like, what, this could be bad if, like, what would be that?
I would say if they force Zach to throw and Zach feels like he's got to play hero ball, that's where we start to get in a little bit of trouble. I want him to like kind of put his critics to rest, like have a good, efficient, non-turnover game. If you can have like 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then like clean in terms of turnovers, I think that goes a long way, especially beating a division rival after you lost your 3 top weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I think Zach can really, really do that. I mean, if we get into a situation where we're playing from behind and we can't use our pass rushers and they're running the ball on us constantly, I think we could be in for a longer day. But I think it all falls on Zach.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm hoping the Jets, start off fast on both sides of the ball. Don't get down early. Like if the Jets get a lead right off the bat, I mean, the stadium's been nuts to begin with. You get a lead, then it just goes to another level. Like you said, don't let them run the ball. Don't get worn down. Keep everything in your favor. I got 2 more questions for you. I was really critical of Salah early in the season. His first couple of games, I was just out of my mind pissed. But I think you've seen a lot of maturity out of him, and I love the way he handled the Elijah Moore thing. He's got to face a lot of adversity here, man. With the offensive tackles dropping like flies, you lose your best playmaker, and it's like next man up, next man up. Like everybody keeps doubting him, they keep winning. What have you seen out of Salah so far, and what are your thoughts on him in his second year?
I like him. I mean, I'll be honest. There's been a lot of criticism of him because of how the defense performed last year. Him and Ulbrich were kind of put under the gun. I didn't think they had a lot of talent last year because of the injury to Carl Lawson and just the depth across the board. And then this offseason, they just influx a ton of talent onto this defensive side of the field. And you're starting to see the mentality of the players or the mentality of the coach rub off on the players. Like you see Sauce, you see, DJ Reed, and you see, all the guys on the offense side of the ball saying, hey, we got to figure this out. We got to do, we got to either simplify things. We got to talk about communication. Like you look at the way Quinnen Williams reacted after he had that monster game against the Packers. He used the word team or unite or communication multiple times in his post-game press conference. And it just feels like the leadership is there. The depth is there. These guys are all winning together, which I think is what makes the Elijah Moore thing just so frustrating because it feels like such a square peg in a round hole. Like the rest of the team is all moving in lockstep. And Salah is a big reason for that. I mean, when's the last time we had guys want to come to the Jets like DJ Reed, like Quan Alexander, like Laken Tomlinson because of the head coach? Like it's huge. And it's nice to kind of see the fruits of that starting to bud this year.
Yeah, these guys are proud to be Jets, man. They see Sauce Gardner walk around with a cheese head, and like after the game, it's all like the comments are always about team, and even like the Elijah Moore thing, which you referenced before. Quinnen Williams, C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner all commented vocally like it's about team. It's not about touches. It's about team, and I love that, dude. Like we wanted that for so long on this team, like a team you could be proud of, a team that's bought in. They played for one each other, and it's exciting to watch. It's very easy to support too. Like you're proud of your team, dude. Like win or lose, like you're like, dude, these guys are playing hard. They're competing. You're getting their best effort. They've all bought in, which is excellent. And now the other thing is too is like now, are you based on the way this team's playing, where they started? Have your expectations changed a little bit? You're like, you know what? They've got 5 wins. You look at the rest of the schedule, which obviously can change based on injuries, but are you thinking, you know what, playoffs are legitimate this year where they could be not only in the hunt in December, they can maybe find their way into a wild card spot?
Yeah, I think expectations have to change based on how this defense has performed and the special teams has performed. I think you're still looking for the offense to start clicking because if the offense kind of follows up with what the defense is doing, this team's going to be hard to beat at certain times of the year. And when we're sitting here at 5-2, I'm looking at the rest of the schedule and it's like, okay, well, if we can win this game and now we're 6-3, maybe heading into the bye, you say we lose probably the Buffalo game. Yep. And now you got to face the Patriots again. You got to face the Dolphins again. You got the Bears, the Lions, the Jaguars. Like there's some winnable games on the back half of this schedule. Like you're probably looking at Buffalo and, the Vikings is probably your 2 hardest games left on the schedule. And I think you start shifting, with each win, you start to mold that expectation. I just want to see Zach kind of flourish. Like I want to see Zach at the end of this year and be like, okay, that is our guy. Because right now, I think that's where a lot of Jet fans are concerned is he our guy? Because if we had a really good quarterback, this team's ready to win now.
Yeah, that's the X factor of the game on Sunday. Like this is such a big game for the team, but if Zach plays well, everybody's like, you know what? We're a very dangerous team. Now that's what I mean. We can run the ball. We got special teams. We got defense. Can the quarterback make enough plays to just when he has to keep winning games or just, and sometimes you got to be a playmaker, which is fine, but it will get really, really interesting, man. They win this game on Sunday. Like it's just everything changes,
Dude, it's exciting. I mean, you think about where we were possibly looked at before the season. ESPN had us picking number 1 in the draft. They're like power
Brady Quinn had us 0-11 or whatever it was.
31-32. Like, we were like awful, absolutely awful before the season. You start winning some games. The Jets still haven't. We're starting to get a little bit of credit because of the win streak. But you look at the quarterbacks we faced, and there's gonna still be doubters, within our own division and within like this week. Is the excuse gonna be we faced a backup quarterback because Mac Jones got fucking benched last week, or like regardless of who starts, like what's the answer here? So. This week's big. If the Jets can win this one, I don't know if it silences the critics, but I think it goes a long way within the division and within the fan base to be like, okay, we got that monkey off our back. Haven't beaten the Patriots in 6 years. Like this would be a big one for us. And then you go into Buffalo, or Buffalo comes into MetLife. And if you can just hang with them, compete, you don't have to win that game. But if you can just look like you're not getting your doors kicked in, like this team's going to be looked at in a totally different light.
Could not agree more. Very well said. This is, I mean, you beat the Patriots. You beat the Dolphins and Patriots at home, which they haven't done in forever, and it's just, and again, be competitive with Buffalo. Like, it's just, everything changes. Then the team starts buying in too. Like, you know what? We can beat these teams. We can hang in. Like, you're exercising demons every week, which is great. So if you had to, I won't ask you for a score prediction, but if you had to say your level of confidence going in this game, a scale of 1 to 10, the Jets are going to win, what would you give it?
I'm pretty confident. I want to win by more than 4 points. I know we're underdogs by 1.5 points, but I think I think depending on what happens in this game, if the Jets can win this, then I think you might see some type of massive trade with Douglas. I think that the trade deadline's on Tuesday, so maybe you see a Conklin or a Tunsil wind up coming in if the Jets really think they can make some noise. If they think they might be looking at a tackle early in next year's draft, maybe they decide to get one in for half the year and use their first round pick essentially on a premier player. It's going to be interesting to see. This is, I believe, at 6-2, the Jets would have like a 75% chance of making the playoffs if they get to that. I think right now we're sitting right around 60. The AFC is a little bit more difficult than the NFC this year, but with each win, you start to see a few more gears spinning. And I think if we can sneak into the playoffs this season, the experience and the growth and the buzz around the Jets this offseason is going to be absolutely massive. And
then you can attract more free agents. You can attract all kinds of people, and the whole dynamic around your team changes. And as a prominent content creator, how cool is it to cover a fun team that's winning?
Dude, it's been 5 years since I started this channel. We're finally able to talk about some winning football games.
Right?
Like, even when we were winning games the last few years, it was like in spite of what we wanted to do. We win against the Rams. We win against the Browns. We're looking for Trevor Lawrence. We don't want to win. So it's like nice to get excited for victories for a change and like be proud of your team. Like you said, Sauce Gardner is he's so easy to root for, and Quinnen, and like this entire team just feels like a team I can be proud of, and the fan base can be proud of, and like they can be proud of. You're not like ashamed to call yourself a Jet fan.
It's sustainable too, man. They're all young guys. It's, first and second year players. Like, this is the future. Like, we're not, it's not like a Band-Aid, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, this is going to be, this could be long-term, which is super exciting. So Ryan, before I let you go, man, first of all, thank you for your time, but everybody knows where you are, but how do people follow you and subscribe to your channel? Yeah, dude. Jets Talk 24/7. If you want to come through, I'm on Facebook and on YouTube. Do live streams every Monday and Tuesday night. Do the call-in show on Monday. Do the Talking Jets panel on Tuesday, and then a bunch of content in between whenever stuff pops up. Awesome. Thank you so much again, man. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on, Tyson.